Okay, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about um, creating an Ubuntu virtual machine. We'll be installing Ubuntu 22.04.5 LTS Jammy Fish, right? So we can install. It's distributed on three types of images below. Again, so we have our desktop image, our server image, and then again we have different BitTorrent images. If we need help burning these images to a disk, we can also burn these images to a disk. So these are the specific versions that are here for you to install. These are the different releases. Again, if we go back, we have our standard support and we have our extended support here. So again, the two types of releases that Ubuntu has are intern and LTS. Again, the Ubuntu LTS is just maintained for 10 years with 5 years of standard support plus 5 years of ESM. Intern releases are just maintained for 9 months, right? So again, if we want to take a look at the cadence, the release cadence and um, the life cycle, right? We can take a look at the version numbers, right? Uh, Releasing for the development codename of Oracular Oriole, which was versioned by the year and month of delivery. So, for example, 2410 was released in October 2024. LTS stands for long-term support. Just so you guys know, the last version, which was in October 2410, is called Oracular Oriole, right? And we're gonna go based on 2 years. I'm gonna want you guys to install the Jammy Jellyfish, right? And then we're also gonna try to install the Noble and the Oracle. Again, it's fully up to you. Just remember that we're looking at the release chart here. If we look at the chart, we're looking from 2014 to 2036. Again, it's totally up to you. Again, our support here for Jamfish is expired on the 27th. Again, it's not that it matters that I install Jellyfish or install Noombat or install Oreo. It's totally up to you, but just look at the support that's involved, right? And with ESM and phone and ticket support require Ubuntu Pro subscription, right? So this is just a basic test um, base. So as you can see, if you are looking for that maintenance, really for the long term support, right? Like I said, the LTS is long term support. Again, when we're looking for that, we have our specific standard and expanded security maintenance, which is our ESM, right? And those are done in phases, right? So if you look at the chart from 1 year to 10 year, you could see the different releases and how that works, right? So at the end of the 10-year Ubuntu Pro period, a legacy support add-on can be purchased to cover additional 2 years of the lifetime, right? So it's giving you at least 12 years of subscription. Again, it's totally up to you. Again, it's a light machine. It's meant for light um, things, right? So just remember that when we're looking at it, you also think about the ESM, which is the expanded security maintenance. Okay, so again, base packages and security updates, kernel life patching, optional support, ticketing. Again, you have that all for 12 years. So we're gonna go ahead and show you guys how to. Then we talk about the Ubuntu kernel. Again, I'm not gonna explain what the Ubuntu kernel is, but there is the supported lifecycle for that. We also talk about OpenStack, right? Which is also part of the Ubuntu release cadence, right? When we're talking about cloud archiving and the Ubuntu archive, right? So when we search for specific packages, we can search for the specific package here, right? And then we can browse through the list of the packages based on the browse list and news and whatnot. So whatever's been updated for that specific package, right? So we're going to take this here, and this is actually a good read for you guys, right? So going back to the downloads, right? So we're going to be downloading it through uh the link that I have here, right? So we have our cloud images at ubuntu.com, or we have our new releases, right? So if we go to cloudimages.ubuntu, it also has sort of like the old style customization in the cloud. So if we are looking for an on-premises image, right, we can also look in the cloud for that. So if we're looking to find the build for Jammy, we just click on Jammy here, right? And that'll have the different daily builds. So these cloud images are just the official Ubuntu images, and they're pre-installed disks that have been customized by Ubuntu, right? To run on the public cloud that provides these certified images, right? OpenStack, LXD. So again, any questions, please follow the cloud portal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So we're looking at the 2024 year, right? Um, we can find different uh, public images that we need in terms of tar.gz. So this is sort of like the manage this file. We can look at the different tar files, OVA files if we're installing it in our VMware VirtualBox, Vargant images, whatever we need. If you guys are looking to download the tar file for this, for the server, you can unzip the file if you want. You just got to right click and unzip it. I'm not sure if I showed you guys how to unzip that, but you're also able to unzip tar.xz or tar.gz files, right? So the further down we look, the more information is there. Again, it's all based on file name, server, and what it's meant for, right? So our Ubuntu server, again, has the daily builds. So if we're looking for daily builds based on the dates, we're more than welcome to go through here to take a look at that if it's there or not. So here are the checksums if you need the checksums, and the SHA 256. So this is all the checksum files. So this is basically telling you that it's a legit program. So again, that's what that is for that, the cloud images. So now if we're going back to our documentation, my documentation here. So if we look at it, we're looking at our releases. So if we go back to our releases here, we can download the ISO here, right? So in this case, I want to download the Jammy Jellyfish. So I'm going to click on that, which I've already done. I've downloaded it, right? It's just simple. Just download it. We're going to choose the desktop image, right? And not the server image. Again, you're more than welcome to try that out as well too. But in this instance, I just want to show you guys how to download the desktop image, right? So we're going to choose this because we have a computer based on an AMD 64 or EMT 64 architecture, which includes Xeon Core, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Just remember that. So in this instance, we've downloaded and here's help on how to burn the image if you want to burn the image. Burn the image from a Windows, burn the image from Mac OS X, and then how to do that based on the images or 2000 and later using infrared recorder. Again, it's totally up to you on what you want to use and how you use it. Ubuntu shows you how to use infrared recorder. You're more than welcome to download that and follow along their instructions and then download the application in 3 easy steps, right? So again, it's totally up to you. So going back to our images here, we're going to go back one more, right? So here's the information, uh, how to burn from Ubuntu, how to write to the disk, how to burn from Kubuntu. We're not going to do that. But again, if you need anything, it'll all be here on Ubuntu's website. So I'm going to copy this and put this here, this link for a good read. So looking at our designing and our images and stuff, I've already gone ahead and downloaded the image. You're gonna go ahead and do the same thing, and I've already mounted it, so it's ready to go. I've already given my virtual machine based on my part one, right? So I'm gonna hit OK. Right. You're more than welcome to add again different network cards, and again the network cards can be different based on what you want and how you want to create them. Right. So again, every application is different on how you build and whatnot. So if you're using an 802 with Wi-Fi, you're more than welcome to create the Wi-Fi that uses 802.11.AC, right? So you can use different network adapters if you're using if you're using if you're using the different versions, right, within our hypervisor. So in this case, if we were to use a hypervisor, sort of what I've shown you guys before. So in our hypervisor that I've created earlier on, I've created two hypervisors on one of my machines. So if I go back to that machine and I take a look at the machine, 1 second, I'm going to see if I can find that machine that we used the last time. I think it was for training I used, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was this one here, the client machine. So I think I changed the location, so I have to find it. But I don't know. It doesn't matter. So again, well, when I was talking about the nested environments, so when we created the nested, it doesn't matter. So again, when we created those nested environments, again, I was able to, download the VirtualBox Oracle, and I showed you guys how to do that in one of my previous videos, and how to download the Workstation Pro 17 on one of your machines. 1 second. All right. So if we look back at our basic machine here, I've created the basic machine here with 4 GB of memory. And again, you're following documentation. You can follow documentation. You can do whatever you want. Your minimum and maximum, right? In this case, I just created a quick machine and given it the specific details. In this case, I don't care about the internet. I can connect this internet to our virtual environment, right? I can connect it to bridge environment. I can connect it to host environment, custom, et cetera, right? So in this case, I'm going to connect it to NAT or VLAN, right? And I can give this machine a public IP, private IP if I want. So when I power it on, right? I've powered it on. I'm going to wait for the disk to load and then click within a black area here and then just wait for the instance to load. And as the instance loads, I'm going to click on here, right? And I'm going to, guys, give me 1 second. All right, so it looks like here I booted it from DHCP. So I'm going to go ahead and restart the machine. I don't want it to Pixie boot. So I don't want it to Pixie boot. So I will, and nor am I going to connect to the SSH. So I'm going to restart the guest machine and cancel out of here. I'm going to right click and I'm going to power on to firmware. I'm going to power it off here first. So if I power it on here, power it off. Or once I power it off, I should be able to power on to firmware, and that's our BIOS. And I'm going to show you guys how to put a BIOS password. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to put a BIOS password. Our BIOS password is not set yet, so I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And I'm going to enter in a password. And I'm going to double click within here, and I'm going to put my BIOS password. Right. I'm going to tab down to the next one. I'm going to power down to the next one, and I'm going to go tab, enter. And then as I press enter, that'll go down to the confirm new password. And I'm going to put in my BIOS password again. I'm going to press enter, and I'm going to continue. Right. And now I'm also going to look at the boots, right? So I want my boot to move up. I'm going to move up I don't want it to boot from hard drive because I don't want it to boot from hard drive. I want it to boot up to my CD DVD ROM. So I'm going to add the CD DVD ROM to the top and then press F10 to save changes and exit. Hopefully that should work now. So if we're looking at the Ubuntu, it looks like we aren't able to recognize the system. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go back to my design drawing board here. I'm gonna shut off this machine, right? I'm going to power it off for now, right? And then when I look at all right, so if we look back at the design aspect of it and we log into our internet here, right? We're gonna go to ubuntu.com, ubuntu.com/downloads page. And I think I recognized this the last time. I wasn't able to show you that part. I think I went to the right side. So if we look at the site here, this is basically downloading it. This is downloading the different flavors that we need, right? Or we can download the the desktop version, right? So if we're looking at the desktop version, which is fast, free, and full of new features, we're gonna click on this, right? And we're gonna download the system. We're gonna make sure that we have the correct system requirements, right? Uh, and we're going to use the documentation on how to download the specific versions that we need. So in this case, I think what we'll do is we'll download the 2410 version, right, which is the 64-bit version and not the LTS. So let's take a look at downloading that and see what happens. So we'll download the 22.04.5 04, which is the April 2022. So we'll download that and we'll reconvene. I'm going to go ahead and wait till this finishes. Once this finishes, hopefully, we should be able to now open up that file, right? So let's see what happens with that. Um, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and install the I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video as I am going to load the ISO image here. But because we're using BitTorrent, right, which is a peer-to-peer download network, sometimes it enables higher download speeds, right? So we'll need BitTorrent, a BitTorrent client in order on your computer in order to enable this download method. Um, there are previous, like I said, we can um, try downloading it through the live installer as well too, right? So we can download the live installer. Or if we have a BitTorrent, we should be able to download it through the BitTorrent. And again, that's just if your BitTorrent client on a computer has to enable this download method in order for it to work. So let's try to download the net. Let's try to download the live installer for Ubuntu and see what happens. Let's wait till that works. And I'll be right back. At this point, you should also have should also make sure that we have that file there again. I'm going to add that file again. All right, so I'm going to add the Ubuntu into that folder and then hit OK. And I'm going to make any other changes to it. Look at the options, advanced options. We're going to boot into pulse. It's all good. Disabled. We're going to enable that later. And then I'm going to go ahead and enable the 3D graphics, right? And then hit OK. So let's go ahead and power on the virtual machine again and see what happens. There we go. So I'm in the GNU Grub version. Again, there's 3 different versions as I showed you. I'm in the Grub. Just remember to double click within it and that should be able to install it. We're going to try or install Ubuntu. We can there's Ubuntu graphics, there's OEM install for manufacturers, and there's test memory. So we're going to select the first option and we're going to hit enter. So I make sure we click into this, right? And then we're going to hit enter. And that should go ahead and install the Ubuntu for you. So we're going to wait till that loads. And that'll go ahead and install the Ubuntu. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can post the architecture of the machine. I'm going to go ahead and go to the settings of that and ensure that you guys have the same settings that you need. This is also something I'm going to talk about before. I talked about it on an earlier video. I'm also going to add that to here as a good redrawing, which is my last video we talked about here for Azure services. And I'm going to include that into my instructions here. When we talked about monolithic and the different architectures and Docker and whatnot when we're creating those application servers. Okay. So I'm gonna take this here because I'm gonna want that. That's my design aspect of it. So I want that design. That's how I designed it. Also, you know, uh, I've also went to the advanced, and I think it was for what was it here? I haven't supported. This doesn't support auto login, so I'm not going to do that just yet. Our display is set to accelerate 3D graphics, right? And we're going to give our graphics memory to 8 GB, right? We're only using 1 monitor for this instance. The more monitors you have, the better. Okay. So going back to our drawing here, and this is sort of my architecture here when designing Ubuntu. Test VM, and this is architecture, right? So this is what I'm going to use to draw that out. We also have the settings, the display settings here. Again, your display settings can vary, right? Dependent on what you want, right? So let's go ahead and copy that. And once I've logged in, like I can also log in, and this is sort of ties into Intune portal and how the Intune portal works. So just making sure that we're not gonna try it. We're gonna install Ubuntu. I don't want to try Ubuntu without making any changes, so I can install it directly from the CD. I'm gonna select the language I want, and then at this case, I'm gonna install Ubuntu. Right, I'm gonna click on it and that should work now. And I'm also gonna select the keyboard type, and the keyboard type layout is again English US, right? Now we can detect the keyboard, right? Then we're going to click continue, right? What apps do you want to install? What apps would you like to install to start with? There's a normal installation or minimal. Again, I don't care. It could be minimal, it could be normal, but in this case, we're gonna select normal. right? I want to be able to show you all the full features within the installation today, right? So today's date. I also want to show you the, the wired connection, balance mode and whatnot, but that's after. Uh, Based on what this used to look like 24 years ago, um, is a lot of difference, right? If you're looking at 20 years to 10 years to now, it's a big difference, right? So when we're installing the other options, again, this saves time after the installation. And we can also install third-party app software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Once that's done, I'm going to click continue, right? And I'm going to click here and I want to save my settings. So that way I have my settings set. Just give me 1 second. As my PowerPoint presentation stopped. All right, so it looks like we're okay now. Just give me 1 second. I think I clicked on the wrong image. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and click in here and just paste my design aspect of it. Again, you guys should be able to do the same thing, right? And not copy yours. If you are, make sure you put your name on top of it so that I know that you've copied you're using it and what video you watched. Do not use my documentation without asking as well too. So we're going to erase the disk and install Ubuntu, right? So this computer has currently not detected an operating system. So what I'm going to do is erase the disk and install Ubuntu, right? If we need to create or resize partitions, right, we can always choose multiple partitions for Ubuntu, and we can come to that later, right? So if any advanced features, we just click on the advanced features, and that should give us the advanced features, right? For LVM, with the new Ubuntu installation, erase disk and use ZF right? So we're gonna select none because we don't want the feature. We don't need the feature. This is just, again, if you want to encrypt the Ubuntu installation for security, again, you're more than welcome to do that, right? Just by selecting one of the options and selecting the encrypt, right? So once you hit that, you should be able to um, allow for that. So I've chosen LVM and encryption selected. It's up to you. You don't have to. In this one, we're going to choose a security key, right? So this will be any outside files of Ubuntu will not be encrypted. Again, this disk encryption protects your files in case you lose your computer. Again, this is a virtual machine. It's just a test machine that we're going to be creating, right? So we're going to give it a password, right? And we're going to confirm the password. Yeah, because things are virtual. If there were physical laptops or desktops, it's always good to keep a lock on them just in case. We're also going to enable the recovery key, right? And the location of the recovery key is here. So I can actually save that into another location if I want, or if I need to, I can always go back and recover it, right? And I click cancel, right? Um, I can also regenerate the password if I want, or I can overwrite. And again, if I lose the security key, all the data will be lost. So write it down, keep it, know where the location is, and if you need to change the location, please feel free to change the location as well too, right? So I'm going to copy and paste this, right? Right, and then press next. So we're now going to install the application. So this is basically telling us to write the changes to the disk. Again, the listed below will be written to the disk. So we have our specific partitions, right? So the following partitions are going to be formatted like LVM, VG, Ubuntu, LV root as extension 4. and then the other SCSI controllers and SDAs for different partitions, right? So we're gonna go ahead and click continue, and we're gonna go ahead and install that. Okay. We're gonna now basically tell it where we are. In this instance, we're gonna name it. We're gonna name it somewhere in Toronto, and then we're gonna click continue. Right. We're gonna give our computer a name. So I'm gonna call this. I'm gonna call this. Give me 1 second. So again, I've given it a name, my computer name, right? Again, I can pick any username I want. So I'm gonna give it my again. That's my name, right? And then whatever the number is, right? And then I'll say this is Ubuntu, right? UB, right? And then today's date. So today's date is October. Again, I don't have to. You guys don't have to do what I'm doing. Again, just follow along and rename them however you need. Right, so again, my computer name is named. I'm gonna choose a password. And again, this is when after I've confirmed the password, I can add Active Directory, which is kind of cool. And this will I can enter the domain that I'm in. So if my domain is a local on-premises machine, I can actually use Active Directory to enter the domain and other details. Just remember, they need to be able to talk to each other and to be able to be on the same VM net. So as long as they're on the same VM net, as your domain controller, then they should be able to talk to each other, right? I'm not going to show you how to do that, but again, there's other videos on how to do that. I'm going to give it a password. Make sure our password is strong, right? And then I'm going to hit continue, right? Again, I don't want to add the domain. So again, this will show you how to add the domain. So we're going to add our domain, test connection, domain administrator, name and password here. But in this case, I'm not going to do that. To confirm my password. Even if this is a kiosk machine, like you can actually have this as a kiosk machine, and then again you can log in automatically, so that it doesn't need to be. It can only run specific things for specific things you need, right? But in this case, I wanted to require because my kiosk, I'm going to use it for for books or for libraries or for whatever I want, right? For videos, for PowerPoint presentations, for marketing, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to continue. And I'm going to require my password, right? Just because it's the first time. And again, you can follow along with the files and the partitions and what it's doing here. So once that's done, we should be able to follow along to the next step. So as you can see, it's just copying the files. It's making all the specific processes. So in this case, in our last video, we did say that this was a kiosk machine. So again, this kiosk machine is for just for an administrator right now, just for testing purposes. But when we do go back and we choose that, we want it to automatically sign in or automatically log on. That way, we want to be able to visit a site, for example, and that site could be our website, that could be a game, it could be whatever we want, right? It could be a credit card machine, it could be anything that we want it to be. Yeah, these are light machines, right? So whatever application you want to run. And again, in Azure, I mean in Intune as well too. Like if we were to go back to our Intune accounts, right, and we were to sign into our Intune accounts, right. So for example, here we're going to our Intune extension, so Microsoft.com, right? Right. So if we were to go to our Microsoft.com, right, this is where our devices would have to be. And even in Azure too, or even we can do Entra, we can do Entra.microsoft.com, right? And then hit enter. And then we're going to go ahead and sign in. I've got my authenticator app, and then I'm going to approve the sign in. Once I approve the sign in, it should be able to automatically log me back in. So we'll see. We'll see once it asks me to enter in the number. Right, it tells me who I am and what my username and password is. Then I'll click yes, right, and then authenticate. Once I'm authenticated, right, I'm authenticated with MFA, I should be good to go. So our sound. So as we're in again our devices, if we've once we've signed into the, like for example the Intune portal or whatever we need to sign in, you'll see that our devices would show up here. So if we go to the all devices list, you'll see the devices populate here. Like I said, over here I have different devices that I've already, like my hybrid, my registered, my joined, right? These are different devices that I've installed. If you look at the purple ones too, I also have on premises. I mean, sorry, I also have co-managed devices. So if I were to log into my Entra, my Intune Microsoft.com account, I could show you. So if I go back to the devices list, and again, if I'm showing all my devices, I don't have any Intune, but again, if you look at, this is my co-managed device. I've co-managed that. These are the different versions of devices that you have that you can have in your environments, and you'll see this often in different environments, right? And these, and again, these could be owned and managed by MDM solutions like Intune, or it can also be managed by your Microsoft Configuration Manager, right? Again, this is all, you'll see this in every any organization. Just make sure that you also have the same thing, right? So give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so if we look at the device list, we have an idea of what those look like. And again, we're installing this. We can, as soon as we install our Intune portal app, this will automatically be registered into our Intune portal or Entra ID portal. So that would, it's managed within our environments. Again, that's totally up to you. But I'm just going to show you guys how to kind of create this. I'm not going to join it to Intune portal. Um, but we can install again like a Chrome or an Edge or whatever we want based on the specific needs that we want to give it, right? So again, as we can see, again, our devices, once that's done, it should be able to populate here, and we should be able to give it the specific you know uh, enrollments that's necessary, right? We can configure that. We can, you can prepare it for autopilot if we want. We can give it an enrollment status page, right? Right. Again, if we're connecting for co-management, we can configure the co-management with the Intune connector, which is sort of what I did already in one of my environments. I've connected the ODJ. But again, it's totally up to your environment. Um, we're just waiting for this to finish. It looks like it's almost done. So it's continuing. As you can see, the blinky light. Times the time looks good. So it should be ready to go. I'll be right back. Uh, Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just gonna wait till this finishes. As you can see, this is just downloading the packages. Okay, so I'll be right back. Once this is done, I'll come back and I'll explain the next steps. All right, so I'm back. The installation is complete. We're gonna need to restart the computer, so I'm gonna go ahead and restart the computer. And once we've logged in, I'm gonna end this video for now. And again, you guys kind of get the gist of things and how it works. I've now gone ahead and installed this Ubuntu 64-bit test PM virtual machine in our virtual machine environment. You're now able to distinguish where to go and what not to do. Again, if you have any questions, I want you guys to like and subscribe this video for me, please. I hope this session was really, really informative. I've done my best here. I've done a lot of work and research on this. So, you know, let's join my group. Send me a message. That information will be in the job description of the YouTube video. And if you have any questions, again, please message me there. So before removing the installation medium, then we then press enter. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the medium. Not even touch it, but we should be able to remove the medium easily. So, right. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the medium. Right. If I need to configure it SSH, I can. I'll create my snapshot, and this is where I want to create my snapshot. Again, I can create anything I want now because it's ready to go. I can then clone it as well too and create my sysprep or my clone machines out of that one. So in this case, I'm going to go with my CD DVD and I'm going to make sure that it stays connected, and then I'm going to go back and use my physical drive and hit OK, and that'll save those changes. So in this instance, I'm going to again unlock the encryption with the passcode that I gave it. Then I'm going to hit enter. All right, so as you could see, I've logged in. Um, Now past that stage where I've added my encryption key. Um, should be able to log in. So here's my machine. That's my machine name. I've given it the virtual machine 001UB, which is Ubuntu, and then today's date. I'm gonna double click on that, and I'm gonna give it the password that I created. So once I've created that password, again, you can use our class password if you want. It's up to you. Again, it's month, the first name, month, season, month, and year, and then I'm gonna hit enter. Right, and then that should log us right in. There you go. And there's our jellyfish again. I can then, you know, sign into my accounts again, my Microsoft account. If I want to, I can sign into that. I can sign into my Nextcloud, my Google, my Ubuntu single sign-on, whatever I want. And then if I want to sign in, I can sign in with my account, right? So I'll sign into my account. Um, that way it's managed. So I'm going to sign into my account. Double check the spelling to make sure that it's spelled properly. And then I'm going to create next. Should work here. Going to make sure that this is spelled correctly. You know what? I'm not going to just say that. I'm just going to let it go for now. Again, I'm just going to should be able to sign in. Download has been issued since the 2204 was released. Do I want to install it now? Yeah, I'll install that now. So here's the files. This is Thunderbird Mail. This is files. So this is where your GUI. This is your GUI, guys. So this is sort of like Windows. You have your documents, you have your downloads, you have your music, you have your pictures, you have your videos, your recent files, and other locations if you need to ask. Again, this is 150 GB disk, right? We also have our Welcome to Ubuntu page. This is our rhythm box. Right? This is our Libre Office Writer. So if you guys use Libre, which is another sort of like office.com, but it's called Libre for that. Right? And then we have our trash here. And within that, we can actually open up our Libre, right? Writer. Within Libre Writer, we can type in our documentations here, right? So this is a little different than what you guys are used to seeing, especially on the Windows side, right? We also have our Firefox web browser. And we can click on our Firefox web browser. We can show the different applications, right? We can install different applications and software here, right? We just got to click here and install it. So for example, I'm not going to import it. I'm just going to skip this step. Not importing anything. We're going to skip the step as well, right? We're going to skip the step as well. And we're going to leave everything as is. Again, you guys are going to have to go through all these steps here to double check to see what you guys need for that. So again, if you have the enable Ubuntu Pro, we have there's specific subscriptions for that. And I think this one, if it's enabled, you get it for up to 5 machines, right? But again, if it's totally up to you and how you want that, right? So for this one here, we would have to go to attach, right? We'd have to and then add our code here, right? So that'd be our code, right? To enable the Ubuntu Pro. I'm not gonna do that now. Again, you guys kind of get the gist of things. Again, if you wanted to upgrade to the Pro using our free personal or company Ubuntu One account or provide a token, we need to register for that, right? So we would register for that. That's where we would go in and we would register. So for Ubuntu One, yeah, I would want to register my account. not going to do that now. You guys can do that later. If I have one, again, you know, I don't have an Ubuntu account, and I'm just going to give it the specific information, right? So let me give it my name, give it a username, right? So I'm going to say, right, it's my username. I'm going to give it a password. Retype the password. And you can use a security generated password if you like. And create the account. Let's make sure that we have everything we need. I have to check the box that we've read and accepted the privacy policies. And then we're going to click OK. We're going to select now. And then again, we're going to add the email address, right? I need to verify that, right? So we just emailed that. Once I've emailed that, I'm going to validate for Ubuntu 1. I'm going to check my emails on my end. And once I've checked that email, again, it'll come from the no reply. So take a look at that. If it's not in your spam, if it's not on your email address, you're going to have to check your spam folder. Right? So let's go ahead and try that now. Again, you're more than welcome to download Edge if you'd like. We can download Edge, and then you can sign in with your Microsoft account for an Intune portal, or we can actually go in through our portal.manage.microsoft account, portal.manage.microsoft.com. Okay, enter. Just make sure you spell it properly. Portal.manage.microsoft.com. If you guys are doing it through company portal, and just sign in with your account. Okay, once I've done that, I'm going to click next. Okay. Again, this is all spelled out. I'm not sure if this is it may be just that it's a firewall issue here, but again, just sign in that way. I'm just showing you how to do it. It's not important that you do it, but again, that's how you do it, right? Just to ensure that you're able to do that, right? Again, if you're enabling the Pro, you follow the examples, sort of what we're doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and check my emails, right? And once I've checked my emails, right? So I'm checking my emails now, and I should have an email from Ubuntu coming up, and there's my email. This is actually validating our email here. I just need to request this email validation and wish to proceed with confirming. I need to click on the link, which is sort of what I'm doing from my Ubuntu 1. Checked done already. So let's go ahead and finish my registration here. And I'll do that on my phone for now. Right. Haven't really received anything yet from no reply, so I'm gonna keep an eye out on that. I haven't gotten anything yet, so I'm just waiting for that. See something. Yeah, so there it is. Okay, so we received that request, right? So I'm going to validate that email. And if I request this validation, I wish to proceed by confirming your email. Yes, I do. I'm going to click on that link they sent me, right? And then I'm going to log in. I'd say to log in with this confirmation code. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay. And then once I've logged in on my phone, to log in. type in my email address. Right, I don't have an Ubuntu account. Again, I'm going to verify this email. Just emailed, which is what they did. I'm going to make sure that I type the right email address, right? I'm going to make sure that the email address is registered preferred as a preferred one of the active accounts. I'm going to check my spam folder, which is, I don't have anything in my spam folder. And there's my validate email again. So I'm going to look at my spam folder. Again, validate it again and just sign in. And I should show that I'm signed in right now. Okay. So we're good to go here. I log in here, type in my email on my phone now. Logging with my password. So simple. It's simply this. It's kind of the same thing. You just need to log in on your phone in order to kind of activate that, and that'll verify your account. So once that's done, you should see the verify button disappear. So once you've logged in with your credentials, should be able to save password. So I'm actually signed in right now, which is kind of good. I've signed in, right? And there's my account now. Right, so if I need to add any changes here, I have to confirm the password, which is what we did, and then or exit without updating, right? And this is where I can authenticate my devices here, right? I can add a new authentication device. I can add different applications like SSH keys, right? So I must verify my account before I put in the keys there with that. And then I also have my account login, right? Account activity if I need that. So there's my Ubuntu One account, right? I've created that, and that's how you do that part. Um, so that's that for that. Again, we've registered that account, and again, to upgrade to the Pro, right, from your admin or from the Ubuntu.pro, Ubuntu.com/pro, right? So if you go here, accept it. We're gonna try a 30-day trial if you want. Again, we can get the Ubuntu Pro here and try the 30-day, right? And this will be for my organization, right? We're setting up physical servers with unlimited VMs, right? How many machines? I can set it up for 30 days. How many machines I want? I can put 30 machines. Let's say, for example, it's 30 days, 1 day each, right? Again, this number can change. It can be whatever you want, right? So what versions of LTS versions are we running? Again, we can run 2204. We can run any of the versions that we like. If we click on 2404, which is the last update, right? That's what we're going to use because we've already installed the 22 import. Right? What security coverage do we need? We're going to run all repositories, right? And that'll run for Rabbit, PHP, OpenSSL, Nginx, MySQL, Ansible, Docker, etc., Puppet, Python, etc., etc., etc. Do we also need phone and ticket support? Sure, why not? Let's try that. It's free. Again, that's the total cost, right? That we'll be doing. But again, if we say thank you, we've now saved 30,000, right? So if we go to infra, that'll also save us a total of whatever machines that we have. And again, that's what it's going to cost. So this will kind of be for myself. And since it's myself, it's free for 5 machines. So I have the ability of creating 5 machines for me or my business as my own. Again, if I choose my organization, uh, it is a paid It is paid, right? So again, in this instance, it'll be myself. Again, I have up to 50. It'll be 5 for my personal subscription, right? So if you need phone support or you need to cover more than 5 machines, then we'll have to select the My Organization, right? Again, if you need to see the subscription pro terms of services, right? So this is free. Well, we're going to click on free. But we love free here. So we're going to click and register free. And then I'm going to enter in my email address and I'm going to um, receive the instructions on how to verify that. And that's it for now. It's pretty straightforward. Should be able to get the email. Email on my side here. Received anything. I've already verified. I've emailed them with the instructions, and once I click on that, I click on my link. I'm now able to validate. I'm just gonna take a picture here. So I'm able to kind of show you guys what that looks like. So give me 1 second, okay? I want to show you guys what the verification is. It took a while for this to come out, but it did, which is kind of good. So I'm going to put this in my notes. That way I know what this looks like. It just validates and it says, hey, do you want to confirm and validate this email address? And you're going to say, you're not a robot. And you're going to say, yes, I'm sure. So simple. Okay. So again, I've now able to on that back here. I'm going to select I'm not a robot and say yes, I'm sure. So I'm adamant now that this should be now validated, which is perfect. I've gone ahead and I will save the details here for myself for Ubuntu One. I should now go back. Uh, this is the step 2 out of 3, which is what I've done here. And if I go back to um, personal details, go back to this here, just refresh that. Yeah, so that's now gone. I've refreshed it and it's now gone. I want to close this because it's a duplicate. And that's it. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's authenticated through Ubuntu One. So any information like authenticating our devices. So if I want to add a new authentication device, right? So if I want to add YubiKey, right? If you guys have your YubiKey, or if you guys are using your Android, Apple, or smart devices with Google Authenticator or similar, again, we can create our oath OTP, right? Or TOTP. If you have YubiKey, you can use our USB YubiKey, or we can um, print up the backup codes, like a list of backup codes to print. So again, you do whatever you want. I'll just choose this since we do not have devices or anything else right now. We can just use that, right? And again, these are printable backup codes. So these are a list of codes. We need to keep them safe. Again, these codes are used in order to show below. This code can only be once. So again, we'll have to click that, and then those will be the codes that we're going to be using. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Sign in now. There we go. So now I should be able to sign in since I'm verified. gonna save it now. Okay. Passcode. My phone, my authenticator app. Select. I'm gonna select the number that it shows me there if I authenticate myself. Right. So I've authenticated myself. That should be able to bring me into my portal.manage.com. And again, this is adding Intune web console within Linux. So I've added that within my Linux devices. And again, our company hasn't made any apps available to you on the device, so I can start creating the device here and tell it which device I'm using. So in this instance, I can say that this is the device that I have, right? And that's the device I'm going to be using, right? Okay, so again, and once I've installed the company portal app on here as an application, right? Then I should install the MIME, the Intune management extension, and then that should, deploy the, the things that I need, right? The applications once I've added this device to the specific group that I want, right? Um, let's see if I'm now able to. So I'm gonna do this here because I'm not gonna complete that. Again, that's where you do that if you need to. So if I open up um, my software update, okay, the applications here, and that's for software and updates. I need to download um, the company portal app, right? So let's go ahead and search for company portal app. Okay. Download. Right, so we can go ahead and download the company portal app um, with this machine, right? I'm gonna go ahead and download this and I'll open it when completed. File, double click on the APK, and this will have the uh, file information here that I need for this into. Hopefully, um, it'll run. So if we go back to company portal, so we need to download portal on a Ubuntu device. Okay. So we'll get the app for Linux here. Will be the app for Linux. So for our Intune app package, we got to go to packages.microsoft.com. So this will show us where we can install the Ubuntu app for desktop this way using curl if we want to. Again, right, and then follow the bash commands here, right, or use the Ubuntu desktop versions here, or we can install the Red Hat Enterprise Linux versions if we want. So I'm gonna copy this link here, right? I want to put it here for a good read. Let's see. So I'm going to add it here now. So that'll be our how to install, right, for Linux here. So if we go back to the Intune app package, right, it's available at packages.microsoft.com. So that's a good link. Put that back, put that up here. So packages.microsoft.com. So for the Ubuntu desktop, right? So we're going to download that. And again, The Ubuntu app is supported with the following operating systems. So it's supported with a physical or Hyper-V machine that uses 64 or 80 x86 CPU architecture. I'm going to click on this link. And this is my packages.microsoft.com. I'm going to, again, show you that where that is. And I should be able to, again, that's the right way to do a search, guys. So I should be able to go to the Ubuntu here and just download the specific files here as well, right? Testing. That's here. So this message here. Okay, so that's that. So I'm going to take this package here and put it there, and then I'm going to go back to the kiosk device. So that's a read. If I go back to website here, right? For more information on how to use them, we're going to go to the Linux software repository for Microsoft products. And again, this instance, it can be configured to automatically to install Linux packages, like to Linux distributions and versions. So each Microsoft product may slightly differ. So if we're installing Intune for Linux, right, I can go to the configure, right? So that's the manual way. Duplicate the tab here. Back, read more here. Again, so remember this Intune app is supported by these types. So that's a requirement that you need to keep in mind, especially when you're designing this specific stuff. So that's important to note. These are requirements here. Okay. So just ensure that, your Ubuntu desktop 2204 or 2004 LTS and obviously the 2404 versions are installed on a physical or a Hyper-V machine, which is sort of what we did. And if we're using Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8 or Enterprise Linux 9, those are the specific requirements you need. For more info on how to install that, we would click on this product here. And, again, this packages.microsoft.com is a public repository meant to consume dramatically by Linux package clients, which include app, apt, for Linux distributions like Ubuntu or Debian, right? And then also for your RPM-based distributions like Red Hat, Fedora, CentOS, Oracle, Cypress, SUSE Linux. So if we're looking to install the Microsoft software packages using the repository, we can do it in 5 different ways. Okay, so I have to come back to you guys on that one. I'm gonna end the video. It's already one. I'll have to take a look at, give you some more better info and step-by-step instructions. For now, we've created this machine, so there'll be a part 3 to this video, just so that you guys know how to do that on your end. Again, any questions or comments, please feel free to message me on WhatsApp. The information will be scripted below. So we're gonna install Edge and we're gonna install into Portal, the desktop version on the on our Ubuntu Linux machine. So again, I want to thank you guys again for joining me today. I hope this session was informative. If you have any questions or comments, again, please feel free to message me on WhatsApp. Have a good night, guys.